Hello everyone, welcome to the Geoecologist. I am Dr. Krishnanand and you have been watching my videos on my channel, The Geoecologist. So by the same name, we are also there on Instagram, so you can follow us on Instagram, The Geoecologist. And in today's session in climatology, we are going to talk about the temperate cyclone, that is the extratropical cyclone. But before we go ahead, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and also share the videos with others as well. So after we have learnt about the tropical cyclones, their formation, their characteristic, their nomenclature, that is naming of cyclone system in the previous lecture, now let's go to the region ahead of these tropics, that is the temperate belt, the Ferrel cell, right, the mid-latitude area, where in 35 to the 65 latitude in both hemisphere, what is there? Temperate zone, and so the cyclone's nature changes, which is called temperate cyclone. The other names of this temperate cyclone are extratropical cyclone, that is beyond the tropics, that is 23.5 and 23.5. So beyond these tropics is this region where these extratropical, beyond tropical cyclones happen, right? The zone of westerlies, as we know famously, right? So tropical cyclones are part of the trade wind belt, and temperate cyclones are part of the westerlies, as we know, right? So mid-latitude cyclones are in their name, as it is part of the mid-latitude region, and also called frontal cyclones, or for that matter, remember, Ferrel cyclones, right? Because it is part of the Ferrel cell. So frontal cyclones happen because we remember air fronts formation, mixing of warm air with cold air, right? And rainfall, cloud formation along that line. So we have learned about that in air front. So this is all about temperate cyclones, or extratropical cyclones, or mid-latitude cyclones, or frontal cyclones, or Ferrel cyclones. These are the names that you need to remember, and don't get confused. They're all the same. The zone of Ferrel cell or the mid-latitude zone, that is from 35 to 65. Many places you'll find 30 to 60 written. So that is an average value taken. So there is no problem. So this is that zone where this kind of cyclone develops. And remember, it is also called wave cyclone. So it has a nature which is like a wave, and that is why it is called wave cyclone. So now let's elaborate further more. So now let's understand the origin and development of these temperate cyclones. So how do they originate and what is the development process? Now remember, in air fronts we talked about warm front, cold front, and their mixing. Right? So warm air and cold air mixes in this temperate zone, right? So what happens? Warm air tends to rise up, cold air tends to go down. But in some places, warm air is very slow and cold air is very fast, it overtakes. In some cases, what happens? Warm air is fast, so what happens is quickly goes up, and then there is a layer creation here. So many types of mechanism that exists in the warm and cold mixing that leads to a cloud formation and a wave formation for a longer period of time. And this is what we say is wave cyclone or temperate cyclone formation in this particular belt. So to understand the origin part, the first theory is the polar front theory. So largely we have already discussed this polar front segment in the previous lectures as well. So let's understand furthermore that according to this theory, the warm humid air masses from the tropics, now these air masses from the tropics are meeting what? The cold air masses from the poles. So from pole comes the cold air mass, from tropics goes the warm air mass, right? So what happens? Remember, fronts fight, that is important here. So polar front is formed as a surface of discontinuity. Remember, they are not mixing each other well. So there is a discontinuity formed, that we say. Right? So such conditions occur over subtropical high pressure areas. Remember, subtropical high pressure areas also have the generation of the jet stream as well. So subpolar low pressure area belt, that is also where they have mixing. And remember, along the tropopause, so that is a zone where you have the complete obstruction or occlusion, where the warm area is upper part and cold area is in the lower part. Right? So tropopause is this particular zone. So where it happens, this kind of formation of temperate cyclone, according to this polar front theory, at subtropical high, subpolar low, and tropopause region. So cold air pushes the warm air upwards from underneath. Thus a void is created because of lessening of pressure, and that is the reason, because pressure is less. So this void has to be filled with more air. So the surrounding air rushes to occupy this. Right? So that is the whole concept. So this void which is created by the mixing of warm air and cold air, this void is actually filled by the air rushing towards it. right? And that is where there is advancement of this kind of temperate cyclone. So this is where we say that cyclone is formed which advances with the westerlies, that is the part of jet stream. So that is where westerlies and the jet stream come into the picture in making of these cyclones in a direction from west to east. And that is what is important in this particular polar front theory. Now, in the northern hemisphere specifically, you see warm air blows from south and cold air comes from north of the front. So warm air, cold air, this is what happens, right? And then they mix here. And remember the Coriolis force action. So that is also important here. And there is, you have subtropical jet, westerly. So western direction is there. So what happens when the pressure drops along the front, along this particular zone, the pressure drops, the warm air moves northwards and cold air moves towards south. So what happens? This moves like this moves like this. Right? So this is where this whirling action again is created, right? So this is anti-clockwise cyclonic circulation in northern hemisphere due to this Coriolis force, the deflection that happens, right? So this is important to understand here. Now, cyclonic circulation leads to well-developed extratropical cyclone, and this is what we say is the frontal cyclone or wave cyclone, a warm front and a cold front meeting place, creation of this particular cyclone in this belt. So what happens? The cold front approaches the warm air from behind and pushes the warm air up. As a result, what happens? Cumulus clouds develop. Remember, we have already learned about the front formation, air fronts. So cold front moves faster, right? Then the warm front ultimately overtaking it. So cold front is the winner, right? In the fight. So warm air is completely lifted up and the front is occluded. Remember the obstructed. So this area is completely occluded. It means now it is completely warm here and this entire region is cold, right? So this is what happens here in the occluded front segment. So temperate cyclone is intense frontogenesis that happens. So frontogenesis, origin of these fronts, remember, this is what is intensifying in this particular cyclone, involving mainly the occlusion type. That is what is important here. So the direction is fairly what? Obviously the west to east direction. So this is what you see here is the west to east direction of this particular wave cyclone. And this is also called western disturbances in India, specifically when it reaches the northwestern part of India. So this is what we say is extratropical cyclone or western disturbance in India. So which brings rainfall specifically in the winter time. So this is what is very much interesting. Now look into the seasonal occurrence of these temperate cyclones. What happens? The temperate cyclones occur mostly in winter, late autumn and springtime. They are generally associated with what? Rainstorms and cloudy weather. So this is important to remember. And during summer, what happens? All the paths of temperate cyclones shift northward. Why? Because remember in summers when we say sun movement is towards north, and that's why the temperature and pressure belts also shift northward. So which was this position here between 30 and 60, this belt also shifts a little northern part, right? But in summers, remember what happens? The intensity of the cyclone is weak. Right? So this is important to understand that there are only few temperate cyclone over subtropics and warm temperate zone. Although high concentration of storms occur over Bering Strait, USA and Russian Arctic and subarctic zone, which is largely part of this particular subpolar belt, and that is what we understand as the seasonality factor. When sun moves northward, the belts will shift. Automatically this zone of temperate cyclones will also shift accordingly north and south. So this is important here. But remember, the violent storms are more there in the southern hemisphere because of this factor that westerlies have more strength here. So which has more strength, it means there will be more energy given to this formation of cyclone. So these cyclones have more energy, they are more energetic in the southern hemisphere and they are a little comparatively weaker in what you say is northern hemisphere. That is to remember. Now let's understand in gist the characteristics of the temperate cyclone under these heads. So what is this size and shape? Remember, the temperate cyclones are asymmetrical and shaped like inverted V. So this is important here to remember. This is like inverted V. This is like a shape of inverted V. So this is important. They stretch over 500 to 600 kilometers. So that is their stretch. That is their shape if you see. And they may spread over 2500 kilometers even in Northern America due to this polar vortex factor. The details of polar vortex we are going to make videos in future, so that will be there, and they have height of about 8 to 11 kilometer if you see. So this is important. Now talking about wind velocity and strength. The wind strength is more in eastern and southern portions, more over Northern America compared to Europe. That is important. And wind velocity increases with approach but decreases with cyclone has passed. So when cyclone is actually approaching, the wind velocity is more, but cyclone is when dissipated, the wind velocity automatically falls down, that we know. Then we have orientation and movement segment. So jet stream plays a major role, as we know, in this particular cyclogenesis, that is origin of cyclone, as we know. The westerlies part. So westerlies and the subtropical jet are the most important factor that influence this creation and intensification. And associated weather. Remember, this is kind of a wave cyclone. For a longer distances it travel. So what happens? The approach of temperate cyclone is marked by fall in temperature. Cold is there. So fall in mercury level, wind shifts, and a halo around the sun and moon is also created during this time, as the clouds that are cirrus clouds have created a veil around that. So this is what is the characteristics in largely these headings, that is size and shape, wind velocity and strength, orientation and movement, and associated weather conditions that we need to remember here. And lastly, if we look into the distribution of temperate cyclone, we know that United States and Canada, this is the portion which have maximum of this kind of cyclones. Then also this portion of Europe that you see, the Western Europe, it has more of these kind of cyclones in terms of land area. So it extends over Sierra Nevada, Colorado, Eastern Canadian Rockies, and the Great Lakes region in United States and Canada. Then you have the belt extension from Iceland to the Barents Sea and continuing over Russia and Siberia. So remember this entire belt. This is also impacted with winter storms over Baltic Sea, as we know. So that is one of the major reasons that this area is entirely normally very cold, right? So Mediterranean basin extending up to Russia and even up to India in winters. And remember, this wind extends up to this particular belt in winters. Northwestern part of India is actually under influence of this temperate cyclone as well. And why it happens? Remember what happens? The shifting of the belt. So in winters in India, what happens? The sun is moving southwards. It means this high pressure zone is here, right? Low pressure is shifting south, right? So high pressure zone is here, right? And this high pressure zone is actually when the wind starts blowing towards the south, right? And this is the westerly, which is now occupying this portion, this westerly along with the jet stream. It is this direction. So it creates a wave, and this is where it picks moisture from the Mediterranean and it rains in the northwestern part of India. That is important to remember. So now, when we have learnt about the details of extratropical cyclone or the mid-latitude cyclone or the temperate cyclone, in the sessions to come, we'll be discussing more on the comparisons of tropical and temperate cyclone. So stay tuned, stay safe, keep watching.